Hi everyone, hope you're all doing great. I'm so happy to be back here on my channel Nest Artfully, where I talk about everything home decor, DIYs and plant care. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a concern that I'm sure most of you have had at some point of time. I myself have faced this multiple times in the past couple of years, which is to say that our living room is a little too small for the big ideas we have for it in terms of decor and interior design, especially a problem when you're renting a place. So I faced this in our Singapore apartment as well as in our current apartment here in Bangalore. And here are some tips, tricks and best practices from industry experts that have really worked for me and I'm sure will work for you as well. As you go through the list, I'm sure there are a few things that you've come across already and might have even given a try, but look at the things that you haven't given a try and see if it makes a difference in your home. The first thing in order to make a small living space appear larger is to maximize the light available. Now, if you've already purchased or rented a home, there isn't much you can do to change things like the window placement. However, there are a few things you can do in order to maximize the natural light available to you. The first is to never place any furniture or objects against your window. This will block the light coming in. The other is to go light on the window treatment. Just a single curtain rod and opting for sheer curtains over blackout curtains will greatly help. The next is, if you don't have too many options for natural light, then you look at investing in artificial lights. When you go for artificial lighting solutions, think of lighting as in layers. So you can have an overlight or a center light option in the form of a chandelier or a pendant light. Then you can layer it further with things such as floor lamps and table lamps, and you can even have specialized reading lamps available to you in the living space. Lastly, if you're someone who struggles with having just a very small window and limited natural light in your living space, one trick that you can incorporate is to use mirrors. You can go for large full-length mirrors or multiple mirror panels on either a wall facing this limited natural light or on a wall perpendicular to it, because it will definitely reflect the available light and create an illusion of more light and more space. The next thing you can do to make a small living space appear larger is to get your color palette right. And this includes your wall, ceiling, floor treatments, and of course, soft furnishing. In terms of painting, you do not have to think about all your walls in white. You can look at colors, especially pastels are a great option to go with. If you're looking at wallpaper, and especially if you're looking at doing just one accent wall, then you can choose dark, bold colors as well, because it can still create that receding illusion where that one wall looks like it's receding, and hence your living space can appear larger than it is. In terms of the ceiling, I would leave it uncluttered, simple and bright. In terms of the flooring, if you have darker wooden floors, then layering it with lighter soft furnishings such as a light rug can make all the difference, because light and bright colors tend to reflect more light and create an airy atmosphere. But if you feel this whole look can get too boring, don't worry, you can layer it with bold pops of color in the form of throws, cushions, and of course art on the walls. Moving on to the next important aspect of a small living space, furniture. When it comes to furniture, we are looking at functionality, size and placement. In a small living space, you want the pieces you pick to provide you maximum functional value. So look at nested tables, look at coffee tables and ottomans with hidden storage, and on the market today you can find plenty of very sleek, smart designs in space-saving furniture. Now, when it comes to size, I would strongly suggest to not go for furniture that is either too small or too big. When you look at too small furniture, they don't really work well and they end up creating a dollhouse vibe, which we want to avoid. When you look at too large boxy pieces, they easily overwhelm a small space and make it look cramped. And when it comes to picking multiple pieces, I would suggest picking one large comfortable piece of seating such as a large sofa, and then supplementing or complementing that with smaller pieces like ottomans, and other such units. Now, when it comes to placement, layout of the room is everything. It can make or break a room because you want it to look aesthetic, but you more importantly want it to be comfortable. So if it's a fresh, new, empty space, then you can lay newspaper on the floor where you want your furniture to come in and then walk around and see how comfortable it is. So this can help you make the right buying decision. But if you already are living in a space and you already have plenty of furniture, then it's time to look at the pieces that you really love and find comfortable and remove the pieces that are only adding clutter. So this next aspect of maximizing a small living space is something we often tend to overlook. So when we walk into any home, our automatic reaction is to look at the floor space available. But it's important in small spaces to look up and see how you can capitalize and maximize on your vertical space usage. So can you have plants stacked up vertically instead of taking up floor space? Can you have bookshelves up on your walls? What can you do with your walls in order to maximize storage, reduce clutter, and of course even create very interesting design focal points? We've come now to the last aspect, which is tips and tricks on creating the illusion of a larger space. And this can be done in some ways that I'm going to share now with you. I've experimented with these and they do work. So the first one is about creating a beautiful focal point in the room. There are many times we are tempted to bring in a lot of interesting aspects into our living space, but with a small living space, it's extremely important to stick to one strong focal point so that the room doesn't feel cluttered. Now, if you're choosing to put up art as the focal point on the wall, avoid putting up too small pieces of art. So you can of course leave your walls bare, but if you're choosing to go with art, then again, size appropriate art. Go for one large panel or go for 3 panel, or if you're putting up smaller pieces, then go for a gallery setup that can create the illusion of one large piece of art. When it comes to window treatments, go for the taller, wider approach, which is place your curtain rods high above the window and try to give them a maximum width so that your curtain drapes that can fall across this length and width gives the illusion of taller ceilings and a wider living space. When it comes to shape and form play in small living spaces, opting for round, curvier shapes over hard angles and sharp edges can create an illusion of more space. You can also opt for furniture and storage pieces with slender legs, which allows for light to come through, creating the illusion of more space and an airy look. And the last is to choose a room appropriate rug. Choose the right size rug. Do not opt for very small rugs that just fall a little beyond your coffee table. Ideally, all your furniture should have their front legs fall on the rug, if not more of the body of the furniture. So this is something very important because very small rugs can create the illusion of a restricted space. If you cannot invest in a large rug, then it is better to go without one rather than to choose one that is too small. So there you go. I hope these industry best practices, tips and tricks that I have experimented with and found works for me also work for you. Do give it a try and let me know if you have any doubts and queries regarding the same, and if you face any other challenges while doing up small spaces. Until next time, take care and thank you for watching.